If you're using Claude Code, Cursor, Codex, or any modern AI coding agent, pay attention to this because the way we extend these agents is starting to change. Imagine installing one plugin that gives your coding agent specialized skills, tools, workflows, and even MCP servers. And instead of rebuilding that integration for every AI coding tool, you can package those capabilities in a common format. And people behind this should get your attention. Amazon, Cursor, Microsoft, OpenAI, and Vercel. They are part of the initial technical steering committee behind something called Agent Plugins 1.0. But here's the interesting part. It is a portable packaging standard for extending AI agents. And in this video, I want to show you exactly what that means, who should care about, how to install a real plugin, how to actually use it, and what you can build with this standard. Let's start with a problem. What problem does agent plugin solve? Let's say you're building applications with AI coding agents. You might use Claude Code for one project, Cursor for another, Codex for another, and you want your agent to understand something very specific, like AWS, Vercel, your company's internal development standards, a database, a testing framework, a specialized engineering workflow. Historically, you could give that agent instructions. You could create skills, you could connect MCP servers, you could add rules, you could create hooks. But here's the problem. Different agent clients have developed different ways of packaging and loading these capabilities, so the same underlying capability might need to rearrange or duplicate depending on which agent you're using. That is where agent plugin comes in. The goal is simple: create a predictable package that compatible AA agents can discover and load. The official specification calls this an open, vendor neutral standard. And version 1.0 defines a common format for packaging, agent skills, and MCP servers. So think of agent plugin as something like a standardized container for AA agent capabilities, not the capability itself, the package. Who is this actually for? This is where I think agent plugins become much more interesting. If you are just using ChatGPT to ask questions occasionally, this probably isn't something you need to worry about. But if you are a developer using AI coding agents, now it becomes much more relevant. There are basically four groups I would pay attention to. Number one, developers using AI coding agents. If you use Claude Code, Cursor, Codex, or another compatible client, plugins can give your agent specialized knowledge, tool, and without you manually rebuilding this setup. Number two, platform and DevOps engineers. Imagine giving your agent specialized AWS, Vercel, database, deployment, observability, or infrastructure capabilities. AWS is already using this approach for its agent plugins, with plugins designed to help agents architect, deploy, operate applications on AWS. Number three, engineering teams. This gets even more interesting inside companies. Instead of telling every developer, here are our 50 engineering rules, here is our deployment process, here is how you interact with your internal systems. You can start packaging those capabilities that creates something more closer to an internal agent capability layer. And number four, people building AI agents and developer tools. If you're building a tool that extends coding agents, you don't necessarily want to create a completely different integration for every agent client. A common package format can make those capabilities more portable. So, what exactly is an AI agent plugin? Let's make this really simple. An agent plugin is essentially a directory with a standard structure. At the center is plugin.json. This identifies the plugin and tells the client which agent plugin specification it targets. This contains reusable agent skills, and you can optionally have mcp.json, which describes MCP servers. So visually, you can think of it like this: plugin, plugin.json, skills, skill 1, skill 2, skill 3, mcp.json, client specific extensions. The important word here is portable. The specification defines the common structure, but it doesn't dictate everything. Installation, distribution, permissions, enablement, updates, and user interface are still controlled by the individual client. That distinction is important. Agent plugin is not saying every AI coding agent must behave exactly the same way. It is saying here's a common format for the parts that can be portable. What can actually go inside one? There are several important pieces. Number one, skills. A plugin can contain agent skills. Think of a skill as reusable instructions or knowledge that your agent can invoke when a particular task requires it. For example, skills deploy to AWS skill.md. That skill could contain specialized guidance for deploying an application. Instead of putting all of that into every prompt, the agent can load the skill when appropriate. MCP servers. The plugins can also describe MCP servers through mcp.json. This is important because MCP gives agents access to tools and external system. So now you're combining knowledge plus workflows plus tools inside one package. Number three, client specific extensions. There's also a mechanism for client specific behavior. For example, com.example.client/hooks. The idea is that you can extend a specific client without changing the portable core of the plugin. So agent plugins gives you a common foundation while still allowing individual AI coding tools to have their own capabilities. Now let's actually install one. Enough theory, let's install a real plugin. For this demo, I'm going to use the Vercel plugin because it is a great example of what this can actually look like in practice. Vercel's plugin provides specialized Vercel knowledge and tooling for coding agents, and the plugin includes things like platform skills, SPE workflows, CIA list agents, and commands for common. First, I'm going to open my terminal. I'll run this command. This is using the plugin installer to add the Vercel plugin. And depending on your environment, the installer can target the compatible agent you're working with. Now let's open your coding agent. What changed? The important thing to understand is that installing the plugin doesn't magically give the AI a new model. I'm still using my coding agent. What changed is the capabilities available to the agent. So let's give it a real task. I'm going to say, analyze this project and tell me what I need to change to deploy to Vercel. Now, watch what happens. Instead of me manually dumping a bunch of Vercel documentation into the prompt, the plugin can provide the agent with Vercel specific skills and guidance. This is the distinction I want you to remember. The model is still the model. The plugin changes the context, skills, and tools available to the agent. Let's try a second command. Now I'll ask, check the deployment configuration for this project and tell me what could cause a production deployment to fail. This is where specialized agent capabilities become useful. Instead of having a completely generic coding agent, you're giving it domain specific expertise. And that is the bigger idea behind plugins. What features are available? Now let's break down the capabilities that agent plugins can support. Feature number one, portable skills. You can package reusable skills in the standard. Skills, this means your plugin can contain multiple specialized capabilities. Feature number two, MCP integration plugins can include MCP configuration. That means your plugin isn't limited to static instructions. It also connects the agents to tools and external systems through MCP. So you can combine skills with tools inside the same package. Feature number three, multiple skills in one plugin. You don't have to create plugin for every tiny capability. A plugin can contain multiple skills. For example, imagine an AWS plugin. AWS plugin, architecture, deployment, databases, observability, cost optimization. That is much more useful than one giant instruction file. Feature number four, specialized agents. Some implementation go beyond skills. For example, the Vercel plugin includes specialist agent such as an AI architect, deployment expert, and performance optimizer. So the plugin can provide more specialized workflows on top of the underlying agent. Feature number five, commands plugin can also expose commands. For example, the Vercel plugin includes commands such as bootstrap, deploy, environment, status, marketplace. This is where the plugin starts feeling less like a documentation package and more like actual development toolkit. Feature number six, hooks and client extensions. The broader plugin ecosystem can also use hooks and client specific extensions. This allows an implementation to respond to events in the agent lifecycle. The important caveat is that these extensions are not necessarily portable across every client. That is intentional. The portable core stays standardized while individual clients can add their own functionality. Here's the part I think developers should really care about. Imagine you are an engineering team. Today you might have 50-page internal engineering guide, and every developer has to somehow make the AI agent understand it. Instead, imagine creating company engineering plugin.json, skills, code review, database, security, testing, deployment, mcp.json. Now your AI coding environment can have a standardized package containing your engineering workflows and connections. That could become extremely interesting for enterprises because you're no longer just giving AI a prompt. You're building a reusable capability layer for engineering organizations. But there's an important limitation. I don't want you to walk away thinking agent plugins means I can install one plugin everywhere and everything works identically. That's not what the specification promises. The standard defines the portable package structure, but clients still control things like installation, permissions, updates, enablement, user experience, client specific functionality. So compatibility still depends on what the individual AI client implements. That's an important distinction. Why does this matter long term? Here's my prediction. We are moving from AI model to AI agent. Now increasingly toward AI agent plus capabilities. The model gives you intelligence. The agent gives you autonomy. The tools give you access to the outside world, and the skills give the agent specialized knowledge and workflows. Agent plugins are trying to standardize the packaging layer that brings these capabilities together. And that is why the companies involved are interesting. Amazon, Cursor, Microsoft, OpenAI, Vercel, these aren't random companies experimenting with another prompt format. They are companies deeply involved in the developer tooling and AI agent ecosystem. Final takeaway. So, if you are just using AI occasionally, you probably don't need to think about agent plugins yet. But if you are a developer building with AI coding agents, I would absolutely keep an eye on this because the interesting question isn't which AI model is smartest. The more interesting question is becoming what capabilities can I give my AI agent? And agent plugins is an attempt to make those capabilities more portable. You can think about it like this: A model, A agent, skills plus tools plus MCP, agent plugin, reusable capabilities, and that last layer could become a very important part of how we build software with AI. If you want to experiment with it yourself, I'll put the official agent plugins documentation in the description. And if you want to see me build a custom agent plugin from scratch with our own skill, MCP server, and a real coding workflow, subscribe because that is where this gets really interesting.